Right. I mean, I think it's critically important. Um, that kind of investment, that kind of continued support is important for the universities. But I give to different universities and different organizations, and I certainly don't have a personal experience with each one. Now, I love supporting IU, and I'll tell you why. Because I had the extraordinary honor of traveling with Dom from Cincinnati to Indiana. It was his aspirational dream school. He didn't think he was going to get accepted, so he never went and visited campus. He'd never set foot on campus before. And then he gets accepted and it's time to move in. So we pack everything up. I'm driving the U-Haul to watch his face the first time he set foot on that campus was magical to me.
Oh,
Magical.
I love that.
And
Oh, I love
we've
that.
had the most, the nice thing about having a son who's earning a PhD and being in school all that time, and his birthday is March 18th, is it's spring break.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And I think we've celebrated Dom. We've celebrated your last, what, 10 birthdays? You always come down to Florida. We always take him shopping. We always spoil them.
Go to the Adidas
I mean,
store. Yeah.
go to the Adidas store. Yeah. Go to Tommy Bahama.
Thomas
Whatever
Bahama. Yeah. Oh,
anything
what a
Dom
guy.
wants to
Thomas
do. is what
Bahama.
we do.
What a guy.
Thomas Bahama. Yeah. So,
Wait.
I mean, those things are precious.
Complete aside, Barbara, do you know that Dom and my mom have the same birthday? Anyway, weird family.
And
folklore.
your mom and my sister
Does she
have the
also
same
love
name?
Tommy Bahama?
yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, that
I know,
would be
it's a lot of
interesting to
weird
know.
Things happening.
That would be interesting to know. I gotta tell you something I did though. Dom and I have always had this lovely connection. We just have this understanding, right? And I love all my kids, and each in their unique, special way. So Dom was at UC in undergrad, and I was working at the
That is
university.
Cincinnati again for
Oh,
Daisy the
thank you.
Californian.
Thank you. And when I first got accepted, when I got offered this associate vice president job at University of Cincinnati, it was very serendipitous. I wasn't looking for it. I moved Dom into the
That's a
dorm,
fun story.
and you put all your worldly possession in those laundry carts, and they come pushing in.
Oh yeah.
And the guy helping us was whistling, and he was happy, and it's like 99 degrees, and sweat's pouring down his
Oh
face.
my god.
It's
I
a
said to
real
him-
humid Ohio River
I said
Valley
to
summer
him,
day.
okay, you're either an alum of this university or you work here, because there are no other reasons why you would be enjoying yourself so much. And he goes, oh, I'm both. So he starts telling me what he does. What do you do? Oh, I work at the University of Toledo. We switch cards, and he goes, you're the principal gift officer. We have a search going on right now. Can I give your card to my boss? And he did. And then next thing I know,
Wow.
56 candidates. So I thought, wow, this is meant to be. This is amazing. Dom, however, on the other hand, was quite dismayed that his mom
I would be
to
too.
Cincinnati
Followed me
to
to college.
undergrad.
Followed me to college.
But it worked. It worked out, did it not,
It
Dom?
did,
Tell
it
the
did,
truth.
it
Because
did.
Dom, a van would pull up on Saturday or Sunday mornings, and he'd go, Mom, can I bring a couple of friends over for brunch? Oh,
Aw.
and the van door would open up.
Hi
and all
Joe.
these-
Hi Nate.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Joe, I just got your Christmas card.
Oh my God. But here, so
That's
we're
so
down.
cute.
I got to tell you this: we're down in Cincinnati,
Yes.
and Don was turning 21, and we're going to take him out. And I told him, I said, Don, before we go out and everybody's around, just come over. I want to share a moment with you. And so he comes over, and I go, I'm going to put
Oh
on.
my God, you're not telling this, are you?
Yes.
Oh,
Don't you think I
like,
should?
Finally, you should. You should.
Okay.
You
I'm
should.
going to turn on the video of your birth. Don't worry, it's taken at appropriate angles. It's all good. Don't panic. And so I put this video on, and we're watching this, and I'm just sobbing. I'm like, oh, Dominic, I'm so proud of you, and what a blessing you in my life, and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden you hear
Wait,
the doctor.
wait. First, I said.
What
No,
did you say?
you go. Tell it.
Okay, so anyways, all of a sudden it gets to a certain point, and they go, well, what's this baby's name? And Dom's dad goes, well, his name's Dean. And I'm like, we both go, Dean. Dom both go, Mom, that's not me. Dom, I think I know my own It's
No,
gone.
because at first I said I thought I was bigger.
Yeah,
I'm like, I
yeah.
thought I was bigger.
Well, Don was almost 10 pounds.
Yeah, I
and
was like a foot
Right.
tall and
3.5
10
inches.
pounds.
He was bigger.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
I thought
he
I
was
was,
big.
Mom, I thought I was bigger. Because this is like a kind
Yeah.
of cute little baby, not a monster.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be his brother. Oh, wow, come on.
Yeah, and then it's like,
Long
no, and Mom's
video.
like, no, it's you. And then I feel like we hear Mom go, is his middle name going to be Angelo? And I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
Dean, Mom. Oh my God, that
Well,
was
there's 5 of them.
one
What
the
can I say?
That was one of the
It's so
funniest things to
funny.
ever happen. That was
That
like
is
the
so
funniest
great.
thing to ever happen to me, Mom.
That was really, oh,
It was my 21st
That sounds
birthday.
like
on
a,
my
that's
way
just
to a bar.
sitcom. That is
He's
like
like a
sitcom
sitcom.
level.
On my way to
silly.
Chrissy's Rathskeller, rest in peace.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
To Chrissy's. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Are all
That's
5
so
births
funny.
on video? Folklore Rules wants to know. Hi,
Um,
Folklore Rules. Yeah, do
High
you have
folklore
video?
rules,
Have
glad
they-
you can make it.
Probably
for
we
this.
just have videos of 4 and 5, right?
No, well, I didn't give birth to 2 and 3, but there are videos, or at least there were. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Number 1,
There's
no.
there's just a lot of cursing in Greek in those videos.
But I want you to understand. I want you to
Disgusting.
understand what a strong woman I am because Don was almost a 10-pound baby, and
I can't imagine.
all my boys were born
Yeah, you
natural.
can. I'm a giant.
All of them.
Mom,
Yeah, you
I'm
can.
mad I don't
Being your
understand.
mom.
Get
I
the,
can
get the
imagine that
damn
you
spinal
were-
tap. Get the damn spinal tap.
Listen,
Spinal block.
I can imagine you were a bowling ball. I can't
Yes.
imagine.
No, I was a
your
long.
mom's
I was a long-
No.
Horror.
23 and a half, almost 2 feet
I
long.
was 2 feet long.
That's the
2 feet
biggest
long.
hot dog I've ever seen in
That's
my life.
right. I was a kielbasa.
When he was a year old, Daisy, so next time you're around little kids,
Okay.
when he was a year old on his first birthday, he was 32 pounds and 32 inches.
Oh my god.
My favorite is
wild.
you carrying me around when I'm 18 months and someone at like some nosy New Jersey lady at the grocery store being like, how dare you still carry around that 3-year-old?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. What?
Well, no, it was
Daddy!
when I was 8 months pregnant with Dean, and I was still carrying
Oh,
you
sure. Yeah.
the issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot of work. But anyways,
That's
worked
so funny.
every backache.
Carrying
Oh,
around
Mom.
that 3-year-old.
Oh,
That's
Tom.
so
I
funny.
was baby.
That's so cute. People said like weird. I was super blonde because like half my family is Swedish,
Joffrey baby.
and my mom has like straight black hair. Like her hair is black,
Yeah.
and
Your
it's
mom
really
looks like
long.
your mom's a goth.
Yeah, my mom is like a natural goth, born to be edgy, and she would like carry me around, and like people would think that she was like my babysitter. That always made her very upset. And then my aunt, my dad's sister, who was on the Swedish side of my family, she was really blonde, and whenever she would carry me around, people would be like, "Your baby's so cute." My mom would be so upset. Like, why do strangers have to comment on other people's children? Anyway, that's my like bringing it full circle here. Oh my gosh.
You wanna get into the interview itself, Mom?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure. This isn't it. This isn't the interview.
Well,
This-
we've got
What
I don't
is
know if you
Oh,
know
there's
this, Mom.
more.
I don't know if you know this, Mom,
They're
but we do pre-write our
curated
questions.
questions.
And maybe to tell you a little bit more about that process, Daisy can do this next part.
Yes, this is the part we all know that I don't know, dream brain off the cuff. This is the unedited part that I know is coming, and I always say it in a weird way. So to not break tradition, Barbara, Megan, folks of the Academy, people who are here, listening to the show who may have just arrived for the first time, we do an interview with our guests every week, and to do that interview, you might think that it's me and Dom, or just me, or somebody you don't see on the screen, and the last one would be right. It's somebody you don't always see on screen. We lovingly call those people the interview sleuths, the Folkwise interview sleuthing team. They are wonderful, intelligent, they're detail-oriented, they turn whatever I have to say sometimes into things that regular people can understand better. And they use their powers they have promised only for good in the production of the research questions that we come up with for our guests every single week. So you see me and Dom, you might think we do all the stuff behind the scenes. That's not true. We have a whole team of interview sleuths helping us specifically for these questions. So if you hear something that's funny, you like it, Barbara laughs, I don't know what, the chat laughs, they like an answer, whatever. Don't thank me and Dom, thank the sleuths.
And Mom,
That
if you
is,
noticed a new hit on
yeah.
your LinkedIn, that was one of the sleuths looking at your LinkedIn. But with that,
Okay.
I'm gonna LinkedIn you too.
Oh,
yeah, there you
Mom,
go.
I'm gonna. We're the three of us here are all gonna trade off on questions. So I'm gonna ask the
Okay.
first one. Then
right.
Megan is gonna ask some questions about that I think she's best equipped to handle for relating to like your career. And then
Okay.
Daisy and I are gonna ask some of the fun ones.
All right. Sounds good.
You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, Mom, let's ask this first one. And this is kind of like the folklore for you question. And that is something that you do in your line of work and what folklorists also do, especially like me, a public folklorist, is we identify resources to help communities meet their needs. What are some informal practices that they don't teach you that you need to know in order to do this?
Oh my gracious. You really need to be able to network in the community, network in your organizations. You really have to be aware of more than just your little world and your little niche. So community-wise, you have to be educated on what's going on in order to really find those opportunities. That's the first thing. I've been involved with the AFP, Organization Association of Fundraising Professionals, since '96. I'm honored to serve on the International ACFRE Credentialing Board now. I've chaired the AFP International Conference Education Committee. So I always find it fascinating when you get into a group, a pool, an environment with people who do the same thing I do, but the extraordinary vast amount of knowledge that they bring to the table, totally different and unique from my world. And I think networking that way, and then the other thing I love about fundraisers per se is everybody is always so open to help and to lend a hand up and to pull the other person up. And that's something that I think is really important to me. I don't know that I would have been successful in this profession had that not been the case.
Daisy, Megan, do you have a follow-up for that? Or
Dom, isn't there applause for your mama first?
it's in chat. It's in chat, Mom. Ladders for that answer, chat.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that's great. I mean, you're right. Like when you go to school, like people teach you the nuts and bolts and the language, but they don't teach you like how to be a good person or how to like care for somebody in your field. Like they just don't teach you people skills. And so that like any advice, like echoing like people skills and just like knowing what's going on in people's lives and communities, that's insightful.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to always be a lifelong learner too. And so my personal story is I was in college right out of high school. I worked full time, went to school full time for a year and a half. I was in education. And then they pulled us all together and they told us that at the time, teachers made, this is way back in the 70s, something like $5,600 a year. And I was working in sales and I was making 3 times. And I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. So I worked in professional sales and was vice president of marketing, did all kinds of different things. But I always had a void because I never finished my education. So it didn't matter how much I had accomplished. I always felt that sense of inadequacy. So I never went back to school. I went back to school and got my undergrad degree and graduated when I was 50 because I was executive director of a nonprofit. And I was acutely aware, Megan, that I did not know all that I needed to know. And this entire organization was depending upon me and my skills to keep these doors open. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm in out of over my head. And then when I got into higher education and found out that when you work at a university, most of the time you can get your master's for free.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Are you kidding me? So I got involved in leadership and organizational development. But my three favorite authors, as I said, it's Patrick Lencioni, All About Leadership. It's Marcus Buckingham, who wrote How to Develop Your Strengths, stream-based, team-based strength relation, all those things about what makes teams come together. And then my new favorite author is Brene Brown. So what I've learned, I'm very competitive. I spent 20 years in sales before I got into philanthropy. When I go into when I get into to our shop, the foundation, there's metrics, there's goals, and a lot of people get totally overwhelmed and freaked out by that. I don't. I set a goal and I aspire to lead the team, and I've always been like that. But I've also learned that, and this is the coolest thing that I've learned probably the last 5 or 6 years. It's that you can accomplish so much more by not working quite so hard if you allow yourself to be vulnerable and open up and lean into the relationships that we have with donors, with our colleagues, right? With our families. If you just lean in and let some of those walls down, then you can really make magic happen.
I agree for
answer your
folklore,
question.
for public folklore
Yes.
too, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say the community and those relationships, that's everything. It makes
It's
it
everything.
easier. If you let yourself love and be loved, it makes
Let
the
yourself be
work
vulnerable.
easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I shared with you guys, Megan and Daisy and Dom, I shared with you that I'm still mentoring a young colleague at the university. She's in her 30s and she's delightful. She's really a rock star in development. But so I'm mentoring her, I'm teaching her. She's always asking me questions. She comes to me when she's stressed or having a meltdown. And so this has been going on for about 1.5 years that we've been working together. And she gets up in front of our whole team at one of our big team meetings, and she talks about the impact of mentoring, the power, the fact that she loves the openness in our environment where we can go ask for help, where you're not judged. She likes the camaraderie. And then, can I show him, Daisy, what she made for
Can
me?
I put Megan
Oh
on the
my
screen
God.
for this part? Can I put Megan on the screen for this part, Mom?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
while
yeah.
you're getting up, I'll put Megan on the screen.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
This is pretty cool.
I'm also just like pulling books off my bookshelf.
Yeah, I know. I
Like-
see that in the background. You're like, interesting. What? This is reminding me of this and this and this. This
Yeah,
is so cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, can we talk about this?
Yeah. It's so cool.
Okay, I
Okay.
think I've got
I'm going
the
to have
scene
all my
transition
pictures
down.
on the floor.
It should now
Okay.
be Megan. It should now be Megan and Mom.
Yes,
Okay, Megan.
that's what looks
Oh my
like
gosh,
that on
I'm
my
so
screen
excited.
too. Yeah.
Cool.
I assume Dom
Okay.
put me up here because I'm super
Yes.
interested in like the material culture of giving. So
Yes.
That
yes.
and
I'm thrilled.
yes.
And for the next question.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be a live react. Honestly.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
So my initials are, my name is Barbara Tartaglia-Poure, right? So BTP. And a lot of people at the university call me BTP. Are you ready? So this is what Maria created for me. She created my personal brand. So it's the BTP method. It's bold, thoughtful, and persistent. Is that the coolest thing in the world? So cool.
Oh my gosh, that's
It's
so
like-
incredible. Can
so
you imagine
fine.
making an impact on someone so deep that they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna make you this art? Like,
Yeah, I know.
Mom, Chad is calling you the
Yeah.
notorious BTP.
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
That is
That's so cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
well, part of why I got put up on the screen is because this BTP method came up, and I was like, what is this? Is this a thing I should
It'll
know?
come
And
up.
Dom was like, no, get excited.
Yes, you should know this.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, now I'm ready. I love it.
Yeah.
And I also have to say, like, my experience with any university administrator or faculty or employee, like, if you're going by 3 initials, that means people like you a lot.
Oh, thank you.
My complete
Thank you.
experience. Like there's someone on my
Well,
campus that I call JPK, and it's like
yeah,
she's the only
JPK,
one who
yeah.
gets 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Well, I love this method, and I love that it's tying to storytelling and that you're talking through how you approach fundraising and how you approach development. And as I was like picking and pulling things off my shelf, um, I imagine you've encountered this as you are highly accredited, which we're going to talk about later. But in my field of philanthropy, one of our core or foundational works is from Peyton and Moody, and it's called Understanding Philanthropy. And one of their key concepts is the idea of a moral imagination, that philanthropy is our way to process those things that we're seeing and come up with creative solutions. And so I love that the BTP method is a part of this like moral imagination. You've
Yeah.
told someone you've
Thank
got to
you.
be resilient, you've got to be putting yourself forward and acting in community to be a part of development. Um, which brings me to my question, which is we talk about storytelling. We talk about sharing of traditions and ensuring that the next generation knows how to do something or why it's appropriate or why it's important. When you're building a narrative around a successful campaign, uh, how do you retell other stories, or where do you decide, no, I would like that person to tell it for themselves?
Hmm. I think that's a really great question because that's probably when we use storytelling the most is when we're in campaigns. That's what you're doing. So, I've traveled. I've had the honor of traveling with multiple presidents over the last 20 years, and they're all unique and different. But in some way, this is kind of the broad scope of it is. Um, the campaign will have its specific priorities and it'll have its, philanthropic goal and all of that stuff will be in place. And you're traveling with very educated deans and vice presidents and presidents who are academically brilliant, and that's important. That's really great. But that's not the piece of it in my mind. The piece that we do is we get to bring down the walls. We get to facilitate the emotion. I get to bring those people who I'm sitting across from in New York City who haven't been back to campus in 45 years. I get to bring them emotionally back to campus and reconnect with that promise that they were feeling when they were there. So sometimes it's easy and fun. Sometimes it's highly complex. The bold part of the BTP method is something that has made me nervous a couple of times when I've executed it. But I was working with a donor in New York City, a very successful builder, and I'd been cultivating him, and he made a small gift, but I'd been cultivating him for almost a decade. And we were having the conversation and we're having dinner, and at a certain point during dinner, it's the same conversation starts to repeat, right? And so I sat there and I just touched his hand with my hand and I said, you know what? I will continue to come out here, and I love New York City, and I think you're wonderful, and we'll have these conversations as long as you want. But I just have a question. Do you have a desire to support the university in a big way? Because he has extraordinary capacity, right? And he said, you come out and you tell me all these things that the university needs money for this and the university needs money for that. But if you could show me a program that turned the lights on in the minds of undergraduate students, that's something I would support. Whoa, Okay, so because I was bold and I redirected that conversation and didn't just let it loop, then it went into this, okay, now I know what his passion is. So I go back to faculty and I say, okay, this is what we need to build. Get this to me. What does this look like? How can we do this? And that Leadership Academy is across all undergraduate colleges. It's been in place for the last 7 years, and it has an international fundraising component that's a student-led initiative. How cool is that?
That's
So
so awesome.
yeah, so it's just kind of you have to have those you have to have your antenna up all the time to pick up on you're always looking for the golden thread.
Yeah, what Dom's question was before about identifying resources, I think added to that, a skill that I see folklorists have that I think translates to fundraising really well is that ability to listen and that ability to say, like, I think I know what I'm looking for, but help me get there. I often encounter people who have not been in fundraising. You know as well as I do, the average person is like, how can you ask for money? That seems so hard. And an easy way to say is like, well, I'm not asking for myself. I'm kind of asking on behalf of somebody else. But that ability to pull on the thread and find out what's important to
Right.
somebody else
Right.
is one of those huge folklorist skills that translates
Right.
to fundraising and development really, really well, in my opinion.
Well, and I agree. I think that's so critical. And then if you're working with donors who have high-end capacity to make transformational gifts, then you would think, well, they have everything, they've done everything, they already have an endowed chair. So what in the world could we possibly do? But you can never forget the fact that these are brilliant, accomplished individuals, but you don't lose track of the soul, right? Don't lose track of the soul.
Yeah.
One of the last year or 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to complete this cycle that I started 20 years ago working with the Neff family in Philadelphia. And we were able to name the Neff College of Business on campus. But the amazing thing is Barron's magazine called John Neff one of the 10 most influential investors of the 20th century. He was a rock star. He was phenomenally successful. Oh, I'll never forget the one time I'm having lunch with them and he's looking for a number on his cell phone and he goes, haha, I have Warren's number on my contact list. Isn't that a hoot? Like, Warren who? Buffett? Like, what? What? So you sometimes get
Warren.
overwhelmed by the people that you're sitting with. But the crazy thing is when he was back on campus and a bunch of students rushed the golf cart I'm driving him around in because they had heard him speak and they wanted his autograph on his book. He looked at me and he said, I am a rock star, aren't I? There's an emotional transformation that happens to individuals when they know their philanthropy is going to impact the lives of people for generations. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful thing to watch play out.
So when you mentioned completing the cycle, I interpret that as the cycle of a donor. So when we think of like folklore, often there's like a ritual cycle or something like there's something very similar in fundraising where you establish contact with somebody, you get to know them a little bit more, you may make a soft ask or you may introduce them to someone, and then you do go through a life cycle where a huge portion of that life cycle is often stewardship. It's working with that person to help them feel like they are a part of the community that they've contributed back to. And I'm going rogue off the question sheet. Sorry, friends.
Oh, whoa.
Do it.
I did want to follow up on something that you mentioned there where, you're naming a building for someone. One of the really interesting article usage that I've come across is for our philanthropic studies undergraduate students. One of the articles that we share with them is a short New York Times article or something like that. It's a popular media article, and it's called Philanthropic Graffiti. And they talk about the idea of graffiti and putting your tag on something and showing that this is your place and showing that you're this community and ownership of that building, and trying to contextualize naming a building in that same kind of way. How do you see the impact of named spaces
You know,
within that university life?
that's interesting. It's critically important for a university. And in this particular case with the Neffs in Philadelphia, they named the college, not the building. So that's even that's profound. But some donors really want to have that legacy or their legacy played out that way. Others do not. They don't want the notoriety. I've found that when you work with a lot of people, they just want the anonymity because they don't want everybody, every fundraiser in the world calling on them, right? But I think it's so important and so helpful for the university, but also with the donor and the donor's family and the donor's legacy, and then the community, the sense of pride, the sense of excitement and passion. When you name a building at a university, then there's definitely an uptick. When alumni participate in giving, whether it's just $5, it's not about the amount in annual giving from that side. It's about participation rates. And so all universities are measured as far as how many alumni support that institution. And all these things make a huge, huge impact on the rankings, on the financial support that public universities get from the state. All of these things are critically important. Now, I'll tell you, when I went to Indiana University, Bloomington for the first time, I was totally blown away.
Oh, you were. I remember this.
Because they wrap their buildings when they've got some construction and they just name something or they're renovating something or somebody's philanthropic support gave them the ability to do this. They wrap the entire neighborhood with signs about your philanthropy in action. The first time I'd ever seen that, I just went crazy. I was like, now this is how it should be celebrated.
For context,
Yeah.
mom was helping me move in the year they
Again.
redid the Kelly School. Right?
Again, helping them move in.
No, this was like my first year of my master's. They had just like finished.
No,
redoing
that's
the Kelly
true. It was
School.
the Kelly
Yeah.
School. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Which was a huge gift. Yeah.
$15 million.
Well, Dom, I think you and your mom have some work to do because the building that currently houses the folklore department is the most boring building name of all time. It's like
The Cobb.
University Building 7 or
Classroom
something.
office
That's really
building.
bad.
Classroom office building.
That's really bad.
Yeah, can we do the Linda Daig Institute for dropping a cinder block on your governess's car?
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Yes, this happened.
I feel like I need to hear a lot more about this story, but
That's
I
an answer. That was an
forced
answer in
it.
Folklore Squares over the summer, Megan.
Yeah, we were. This is a folklore squares answer, but also is like if we're talking about family folklore. Now we can talk about discipline folklore, which is its own kind of fun thing. But we'll catch you up on the governess cinder block story.
Okay. You know, I was thinking when you were talking, Megan, one of the things that I believe in and I always have aspired to do is to go the extra mile for my donors. I mean, I bring people gifts, but I remember grandkids' names. I remember grandkids' birthdays. I remember special holidays. I do all kinds of things for people. But when we were talking about expanding your network and being aware of situations and then being bold and taking chances. So here's a story that is so precious to me. It was so serendipitous. It has nothing to do with my ability other than I followed through. So back in 2001, 9/11, I was in and out of New York all the time. During those years when Don was little. And when that happened, that was profoundly impacted me. And so I'm on a university campus and there was an initiative to try to gather supplies to send to New York. And there were all these different things. And I remember feeling Two things. I remember feeling, one, totally helpless to really do anything that would have an impact, right, on the people in New York to help them. But the other thing I remember is, of my 5 sons, 3 of them were at the age where they could have been drafted into the military. And I remember feeling really panicked about that as well. So when I'm in a state like that, I go into action. That's what I do. That's the only way I can
That's
manage
where I get it from, Daisy.
emotions.
That's where I get
That's
it
where you get it from.
Hey, this
So-
is maybe this. I need to call your mom for more pep talks too. Dom gives a great pep talks all the time. Yeah,
You
let's
could
start calling you
start.
too now.
Yeah.
So
We can
I'm
alternate.
So the University of Toledo football, the University of Toledo was playing Navy that year.
That's right.
In October for homecoming. And not only that, but the president of the university at the time was Dan Johnson. His wife Elaine's brother was the rear admiral of the Navy. So there were all these like cross points and coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that life crosses over and shows us the pattern. It's almost like somebody's putting a puzzle together for you. Now we have the option of decide whether or not we're going to try to jump in and do something with that, or if we're just going to go, oh, wow, what a coincidence. So I'm watching Good Morning America, and they're talking about some town in, I don't know, Kansas or Missouri that had one of the first responders from 9/11 to their hometown, and they honored him in a parade. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be amazing? We're playing Navy. They're going to be there. They're bringing the Navy band, right? This would be so fantastic to honor first responders from 9/11, bring them to Toledo. Oh my gosh. So I was a part of a big university-wide team putting this together. And I brought this passionate idea to the table. And the chair of the board at the time, her name was Joan. I'm sharing this, and Joan goes, that's a brilliant idea. That's really, and you're so passionate about it. Why don't you reach out to the NYPD, and why don't you reach out to the New York Fire Department? And why don't you see if you can get us a couple of officers? And then I'm like, oh, sure, right. Like, I'm just going to get on the phone. Hi, Barbara in Toledo. Like, oh, what did I do?
It's Barbara in Toledo.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Hi.
Barbara Toledo.
Yes, can't you see that? So I
The
started,
first-time caller, long-time
but,
listener.
I'm a hang up and
but
listen.
Megan, she's the chair of the board of trustees. So now I'm out there, right? I'm in my lane. So I
Yeah,
thought,
now you got
Now I'm-
voluntold to follow through
Yeah, I
with
do.
your idea.
Yes, I do.
Been there.
So I start doing this outreach, and we're sending letters, and I'm working with one of our writers on staff to make sure it was compelling and all that. We send it out, and then I'm following up because we didn't hear anything, nothing from either one. So I called the fire department, and I got the chief, and our grandpa, my dad, Dom's grandpa, was a lieutenant on the fire department here in Ohio. So I really felt this connection. And he said, we got your letters, and that was really kind of you to offer. We're still burying those officers who were killed in the World Trade Center. And so
Sure.
we had 5 funerals this week. And so I'm sorry, but we just can't handle your offer. So I was just like overwhelmed with just the thought of what he had just told me. So the meeting was that afternoon. I went upstairs. I'm saying, guys, I gave it my all, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And I shared with them, the feedback I had gotten. So I get back down to my office. Honest to God, like 20 minutes later, sit at my desk, my phone rings, and this guy with a real heavy New York accent starts saying, hi, this is Captain so-and-so at the NYPD. I got those 2 officers that you asked for, Nino and Navarra. Now they'll be ready. Are you flying them first class? What's their
Wait, what were their
accommodation?
names again?
Oh, no, Lang and Navarra. Lang and Navarra. Lang,
Was
yeah.
it Ricky Lang and Nino Navarro?
Ricky Lang and Nino Navarra.
Yeah, because I remember Grandpa called Ricky Dick, and I don't think anyone else called that man Dick but my grandpa. And I'm kind
I
of.
don't think anybody. And so I go running around. I'm like, oh my God, who's got budget money? We got 2 officers. So here's the crazy part about this. And this is years ago, and I love these guys. They're like my brothers. But here's the crazy part. So these 2 gentlemen were hazmat, and they were undercover officer, undercover NYPD, coolest guys in the world. And they had just accepted this special assignment after 9/11. And part of the criteria is you're going to be in this terrorist group. And if we have an assignment for you, no matter where it is in the country, you have to just be willing to say yes and go. You can't say, where am I going? What time? When does the assignment end? I got to check with my wife. None of that. You just have to say, yes, I'll go. So laying in, and Nino and Ricky get called aside, and their captain says, okay, well, we got an assignment for you. We're sending you to Toledo, Ohio. You're going to be honored in a parade. So get your dress blues and get ready to go. So
Is this an assignment?
Nino's a little, he's like, I don't know, 5'9", little Italian guy, just adorable. And Ricky is this tall, thin, blonde hair.
I remember Ricky looking like Lurch.
Yeah, so Nino is already, he's
And
going.
Nino's like Joe Pesci. Yeah.
He's getting his stuff ready. He's getting his gear ready. Come on, Ricky, you got to get, they're partners, right? You got to get going. And Ricky's like, they're just testing us to see what our reaction is going to be. They're not sending us to Ohio. Where is Ohio anyways? But they're not sending us. So when they were leaving, Nino's family lived in Staten Island. So Nino goes and he's saying goodbye to his wife, and he's telling his dad he's going to Toledo, and he's going to be honored by this university at this gala with 500 people because of his actions at 9/11. And his dad says in really broken Italian, the day you're honored, the day you get a standing ovation by anybody is the day I'll have a heart attack and die. Something like that, right? So
oh my God.
They come into Toledo.
Face.
We pick them up. The flight was late. One of their bags was lost. I ended up whooshing them through the hotel right to the gala. So picture this: 500 people in this room,
God.
right? The big stage. The lights are dim. They're watching for me to come through the door. I had already called my boss to say where we were. So the doors open, and I walk in with these two officers in their NYPD dress blues, and the entire place erupts.
Wow.
And it's a standing ovation for, I'm telling you honestly, 10 minutes, because people finally felt that they had a tangible person that they could say thank you to.
Right.
Right. And then we had the
Wow.
parade, and the parade took 4 times longer than it usually does, because we had big signs on the car, the convertible. People kept coming up and stopping the cars and stopping the parade and hugging them and thanking them. And I mean, it's one of the most beautiful experiences, just absolutely beautiful. So I think expanding, I mean, sometimes when you're vulnerable and you lead in and you have confidence in these inspired ideas that are given to us, and you run with them, even though you have no idea where your feet are going to take you, that's when you really that's when magic happens.
Well, I think that leads perfectly into this recognition of kind of how elite of a fundraiser and a development professional that you are. We're on the call with people who are folklorists and anthropologists and sociologists, and they kind of know that academic world. And I've spent some time in the fundraising world, so this accreditation that you have, the ACFRE, and working with the AFP, those organizations are like huge buzzwords in my ears. Your son has a PhD, and you have this certification that only about 100 or so people also have, which is arguably more impressive.
I'm not gonna argue against that.
No argument. Very
No
few.
argument.
Yes,
That's true.
Less
You
than
are.
like
Arguments here.
0.000000001% of the population has this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that it's somewhat similar to just the rigor of a PhD, where you do take courses, you have to take examinations, you have to keep that certification up to date, you have to participate in the community, and there's a lot of crossover between that.
You're expected to present, to publish.
Mhm.
It's very similar.
It's very similar, yeah.
Although
So how?
you'll end up with the PhD, which is very cool.
Well, your mouth to God's ears, really. That's still on the line. But so what I think many people on the call, and yourself included, having done a master's as well, that graduate experience is sort of a journey of self-discovery in a lot of ways. How has achieving that high level of development recognition been sort of that similar journey that you've seen your son go on through academia?
It's very similar. There's two parts to that answer. The first part is very practical. If you're working in higher education with all of these highly educated individuals, right, who have earned PhDs, who are doctors, you are really, honestly, if you want to play in that arena, you've got to continue your advanced degrees because you can't level the playing field without. I mean, that's just the reality of that, right? And so that was the practical reason why I went after my master's and earned that, why I went on for the ACFRE. But the other thing, it's about when I watch, 4 of my 5 sons have advanced degrees. When I watch the work and the things that they aspire to do, I'm in awe of my kids. And I used to tell them when Dom, I don't know if you remember, when Dom was in high school, a lot of times there were only 2 or 3 computers in the house back then.
Mhm.
And the kids always used to use mine to do their homework, which meant I didn't get to get on and start doing my homework until like 10 o'clock at night. And there would be all this stuff. And then they'd come to me and they'd complain about something. I can't get all this done. I've got too much to do. And I would say, hey, sit down, bring your calendar here, show me your responsibilities. And when your work schedule looks like my work schedule, then I'll seriously consider your complaint. Otherwise, just get on with it. Just stop complaining. Just go get it done. Especially you, Dom. Just go get it done. Stop telling me why you can't do it.
Especially you,
Right?
Dom.
Well,
So
I am fully
my
convinced. I'm fully convinced that families or kids that come from families where at least one of their parents is invested in the community, and whether that
Yeah.
means like is spending a lot of their time volunteering or does nonprofit work professionally, I think a lot of those skills and those community buildings are shared with kids. That's part of my academic work, is trying to understand how our storytelling and how that kind of culture moves to the next generation. But I mean, I
That's
think if
cool.
you're looking at your family and you see a lot of advanced degrees and a lot of people really working in ways that they're trying to better their community, that, I mean, that's such a wonderful testament to the home that you created and the family
Thank
folklore
you.
and the traditions of giving that you established for your sons. I think that's really
I
cool
always
and
I
shouldn't
always
go
had my
unrecognized.
Megan.
Thank you. I always made certain that, my sons went to schools where service work was required as a part of their curriculum. But I always recruited them and volunteered them for any organization that I was involved with where they had to be involved and help as well. When I started the ACFRE process, and it's a 3-year commitment and inexpensive. There's an investment involved with it, just like a PhD, and they're a heck of a lot of work. Holy smokes! But my mentor at the time told me it would help me find my voice in fundraising, and it's the most important thing that it has done. It's given me the confidence to really go into any room, any environment, and really just speak my truth. So that's one thing. But the other thing that I experienced and I wasn't expecting is I steal a line from Hamilton. It puts me in the room where it happens with all the people in
Absolutely.
fundraising who are making it happen. I mean, I have a network. I was just working with a 8-figure gift, and I needed help. I was stuck. I needed to brainstorm with somebody. So I have a great friend who's the executive director of undergraduate admissions at UCLA. And I just called her and I said, hey, how do you handle this out there? What do you guys do? I mean, UCLA is a little bigger than the University of Toledo. So like, let's talk through this. I mean, it's fascinating that there's a community and a camaraderie and a collaboration that's just, ooh, so exciting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, that change and the ability to adjust and you're being bold. You have to figure out I realize I hit a spot and I need to do something different. We also in folklore talk about how dynamic our traditions have to be. And you are at the front line of that. I mean, we were kind of joking when the call started that you're at the front of bringing people into the backstage of tradition. You're bringing them back into the spaces where they get to define those cool things that continue to happen, or you encounter that donor who says, I think I really want to make a difference by starting this new thing. uh, how have you seen the performance of those fundraising stories and the dynamic nature of what your donors want their funds to do? How have you seen that change over your career?
Oh gosh, wow. So I think if you look at the work that happens in like the College of Medicine or on an academic campus, University of Toledo, for example, has a world-renowned program on in arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. They have a kidney transplant center, as does the University of Cincinnati. University of Cincinnati, when I was down there, I was thrilled and excited about the C-STARS program, where they had simulators, airplane simulators, where they took doctors and nurses and they trained them how to do surgery coming out of a war zone with no lights on, just like, red lights inside so they wouldn't be detected. When you get involved in these kinds of fundraising initiatives, and then you understand that the work that they're doing is literally saving lives, that has a ripple effect on everybody who's involved with those organizations. And the first organization, the first place where I cut my fundraising teeth was a program called Mom's House here in Toledo. And that was an organization, it started as a pro-life organization that gave free daycare to single moms who had chosen to keep their kids, but with the understanding that those girls were going to be limit set without an education. And most of the girls in this program were 13, 14, 15-year-old moms. And so getting involved with that kind of an organization, building that up, having the opportunity to a lot of times it's just telling the story better, right, Megan? It's the small core group of people knows the brilliant work that takes place, but they're not good storytellers, so it just doesn't go out very far. So it's having the ability and then being savvy enough to network with videographers and all kinds of people who can help you tell that story and then push that out. And I'm so proud that organization is thriving, and they've been in Toledo 25 years. I mean, that's amazing. And they're about to build their second Mom's House down.
Well, they are.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, where?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Do you know where?
West Toledo.
West
Not
Toledo. Okay.
where they are. Yeah.
And I hear a lot of history of philanthropy kind of coming into that and organizations of that tradition when we think of Whole House in Chicago and Jane Addams and this idea that, people need our help, but we can sometimes put conditions on that help and trying to figure out, well, who is worthy of help and who do we extend that assistance to, I think is something really interesting. But it's often forgotten that folklore is so important in those spaces, right? When you're talking about a space where you're helping moms and kids,
Yes.
you are
Yes.
automatically in a space where you are playing games, you are singing, you are making
Yes.
art. And those
Yeah.
traditions were alive and well at Hull House in Chicago with Jane
Yeah.
Addams. And that's what I find so interesting, that I don't think our folklorists have always completely viewed in the way that I think it can be viewed, which is genres, or
Yes.
the types of stories we tell, the material cultures that we make. Those things have a philanthropic tilt to them.
Mhm.
And especially when they occur in those spaces of a nonprofit or of
Yes.
a university where
Yes.
we've legally said, hey, you're a nonprofit, you're this kind of entity. They
Right.
still have these really important parts of community that stick with them.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it so
You know
much.
how we were talking about.
Uh,
Can I jump back to my Christmas
Oh
theme?
my
I cannot
please.
stop you.
Oh my god, yes.
I
Yes.
cannot
So-
stop you.
And then Dom, this just popped into my head, so I have to tell this story. So we're down at Mom's house, and how old were you, Dom? Maybe
10?
10, maybe 11, maybe 10. Yeah, you weren't very old. And Dean would have been a year, 18 months younger. So we're down there, and I told my kids, they still kind of believed in Santa. So you were younger than 10, Dom. Anyways, they still believed in Santa. And I said, okay, we're going to go down, and Santa's going to come, and he's going to bring toys to all the little kids in the program. And it's not the real Santa. It's one of those Santa helpers because we're doing this to help. So I'm giving them this whole big thing. And then I had them there as little tiny kids, and they were helping, helping getting Santa's toys ready and really participating and volunteering. I always wanted them to understand the value of that. So we do all that stuff, and they're all excited, and I've got Dom and Dean in the back seat of the car, and we're driving home, about 20-minute drive, and we're talking about Santa and how wonderful all this was. And Dean says to me, Mom, there's not really a Santa Claus, is there? I saw that guy, and he had an inflatable suit, and this isn't really for real, is it? And Dean was always a real practical one of the two. Would it shock you that Dom really loved the fables and the mythology and the stories behind things?
Whimsy.
Woo! So we're driving home, and I'm talking to my youngest son, and I'm really so careful. He's like 6, 7. I'm really trying to answer his question without destroying his delicate heart. And I said, well, who is Santa Claus really? Nicholas. And what was St. Nicholas about? And what did he do? And I'm telling this whole big story. And I'm saying, so there's Santa Claus is in all of our hearts. When we bring joy, when we volunteer, this is what Santa Claus is all about. And Dean goes, I'm looking in the rearview mirror, Daisy, and Dean goes, oh yeah, no, Mom, that makes sense. I get that. And all of a sudden, Dom burst into tears, just sobbing. He's sobbing. And I was like, Mimo, what's the matter? What's going on? And he goes, what's the matter? What's the matter, Mother? Imagine how a boy feels when he realizes that his mother has been lying to him his entire life.
Oh.
I was
Just
like, oh,
drama.
I was
dramatic.
I was concerned about the wrong child here.
This is the only time in these 2 hours. This is the first time I've been embarrassed so far.
Oh, Dom, that's so cute. Dom, your heart
That's
has always been your
cute.
heart. It's made you who
Well,
you
that's
are.
true.
You've always been. I mean, come
Yeah.
That's true.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you, Dom.
Oh,
Come on.
How could you be
Oh, I
lying
love
to me
that.
the whole
Well-
How could you be
time?
lying?
Dom, I have to ask you a question though.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
So, Dom, when you have moved to new places, have you looked to volunteering to try to build community? Is
Yeah.
that like one of the first places that you go to?
I volunteered in Indiana. In Bloomington. I was at the food bank. That was one of the first things I was like, I'm gonna start doing that. And yeah, I think I didn't. I
Dom,
don't think I
Guts.
ever realized. Oh,
Cool,
what
Dom.
Guts is.
is Guts
Totally.
volunteering? I mean, like I
You travel to
organized
tournaments with your friend. You organized a tournament for
Yeah,
no
organize tournaments.
Yes, I organized
Hey,
the
Dom.
tournaments. I mean, like, I do volunteer, like Ice
Karaoke.
and Fire Con, you know, all these kind of things. So I guess
Yeah,
Mom is right.
we-
Yeah, with Guts, I did spend like a lot of my free time like throwing a
Mhm.
party every month. You know what I mean? Not just for my friends, but it
That's
was a way to bring in new
awesome.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a big
that's awesome.
Some of you may be in
I
chat.
think
yeah.
I love how people look to volunteerism or look to the ideas of community and how those traditions like make it easier to extend that olive branch. You know, I am sure
Mhm.
both of you on our call have invited a friend over to a holiday dinner when they didn't have somewhere to go, and you get to share that
Right.
Oh yeah.
tradition. Dom,
Right.
you're like, I don't know if that I'd call that volunteering, or I don't know if I'd call that
I
philanthropy.
guess.
My boys,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
boys, Peyton and Moody.
Oh.
My boy,
Yeah.
I don't mean to citation drop you, but
You're
they call it.
You're on Folkwise. You can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. They call
Wait, Megan, you need to send me a
philanthropy.
picture of the boys. You need to send me a picture of the boys for meme related reason.
Of
The
course.
Say.
boys,
Okay, anyway.
the boys of Peyton and Moody.
Yeah.
Well, they call philanthropy voluntary action for the public good.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be anything more than that. It can be elder care. It can be planning a party that just makes people happy. I think we get really caught
It can
up
be
in
as
thinking
simple.
that
It
philanthropy
can
is money. It's not.
Yeah.
be as
True.
simple as this. It can be as simple as this, Megan. It can be as simple as buying the
Yep.
car behind you their coffee when you're in line at Starbucks.
Exactly.
One of my favorite things to do is I always carry a couple extra umbrellas because if you've ever seen
If you've ever lived
someone
in Florida.
stuck in a rainstorm without an umbrella, that's someone who with very
They're having a
simple.
bad day.
Well, you pull your car over and you extend your helping hand and you give them an umbrella and you make an immediate impact on changing someone's life. I mean, that's really
That
true.
is
I try
so
to do
charming.
Yeah.
and
That's a good idea. Yeah.
in kind of quiet ways where you can just do it automatically. You know?
Yeah.
Fun.
I love that. And I really do love hearing about how people go to new places and they lean in on those traditions of
Yeah.
giving to find that community. I think that
Yes.
again is a testament to how you've created your family space, is like that your sons would look to trying to help somebody else to make themselves
Right.
feel at home in a place
Yeah, feel
is something
comfortable.
really special.
When we came
And-
back here from Florida after living in Florida full time, and we came back to Toledo, which I've left in my lifetime 7 years because I always aspired to live someplace more exciting than here. And then when we came back the last time, I thought, you know what? Maybe instead of pushing this away, maybe I should try embracing this and see what the real mission is here, right? And so I thought, now if I'm going to be back here, and of course I'm involved in the community through the university, but I'm retiring in June. So if I'm going to be back here, I'm going to be involved, and I don't want to be at home and turn the news on and see something that's happening someplace in the city. I want to be involved. I want to make an impact, a difference. So I reached out to some friends in my network and I said, I'm interested in seeing what's available. I'd like to serve on a couple of boards. What do you know about? What do you have? And so now I'm on the largest hospital system board here, on the foundation side of that hospital system, which has been fascinating. It's been really fascinating. But the other backstory of that is Dean's, my youngest, he has two babies that were both in the NICU. My older grandson Milo was in the NICU for almost 3 months and very ill. And then the younger one, Noah, was in for 2 months. So my heart, my philanthropy when it comes to serving on this board was so easy because it's all about finding ways
Yeah.
to support the NICU. It's all about doing something to help support those nurses and doctors who gave so much to my family. So it's
That's
really,
incredible.
what else would you do with your life?
Aw.
See, personal narrative and fundraising, y'all.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there.
Our
Yeah.
personal narrative from the 1970s that like became a genre, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what I see happening over and over again is when there's that really deep personal connection is where the magic happens. That moral imagination.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Well, Mom, it's after 9. I hope you're cool staying on
Yes.
while we ask you some bonus questions. But I just want to say,
Yeah, go ahead.
Megan, you are
Yeah.
so good at this. Special guest
Great
interview
Well,
job,
Megan.
okay.
Megan.
You're doing
so
incredible.
You know,
Ladders
I-
for
I
Megan.
only
right
got
now, chat.
nervous.
Ladders for Megan.
I only got nervous twice, Megan. It's just because you're so sticky.
oh my gosh. I hope
Megan,
I
I
didn't make
gotta
anybody nervous.
you guys just give Megan and I a moment. Hang on for a second.
Go for
Megan,
it.
you know who Jim Greenfield is.
Yes.
Yes. So guys, Jim Greenfield is like the grandfather of fundraising. He's like the guru god of everything that we do. And so he's an ACFRE, Megan. And when you earn your certification, you get invited into kind of like this inner sanctum. And so at the international conference, they have a reception for ACFREs. So remember I was telling you
Please
about
tell
that.
me there's an initiation and a whole set
Yeah,
of traditions
yeah,
that I can
it's
learn
kinda like
about.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you remember I told you it helps you find your voice and find your confidence, except I'm in this room and I'm sitting there and there's an empty seat next to me. And right before their little program starts, Jim Greenfield comes in and sits down next to me. And I thought, holy shit, they're going to find out that I don't belong in here. I can't sit next
Oh,
briefly. I can't, like, here, take
find out.
it back.
Imposter syndrome is real.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
I
tease
feel
him
that
about
way.
all the time.
I feel that way every day I walk into the Lilly family offices. I'm like, how?
What
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
What
that's
an
like
amazing-
Wow. Okay.
We were there for the ACFRE board meeting was there 2 years ago, I think. I mean, that's a beautiful place. And my friend at UCLA is just starting the PhD program there.
Oh, the Fildy? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's just
So
starting.
we have I hope you are interested because I know some people. We're starting a new it's really cool. So we're starting a new philanthropy
New cohort?
PhD program. The one that I'm in is traditional academic research. You would go into a tenure track, you would be publishing and doing research. But we're also starting this new philanthropy PhD program called our PhilD, which is for practitioners. We
Yeah.
want to get people who are really great at fundraising or really great at community building or wonderful leadership who want to figure out what's the next step, how do I make this bigger? And that program is
Megan,
Oh, we lost your
we lost
audio
your audio.
somehow.
Instead of a dissertation, it's
Oh, you're
more of
back.
a
Oh.
practical
Yeah, practical.
project where they're actually going out and trying to do something
That's so
in
cool.
alignment
That
with
is
that goal.
so cool. That is so cool. Okay, bonus questions, go.
All right.
I have to check the football score.
Okay.
I was gonna say, and
Check
also,
on Jim.
yeah, you know, you gotta check on Jim at some point. I'm gonna see if I just come right back. Okay, hi, I'm back. And costume change. It wouldn't be done without a costume change. I tried to find my shirt that matches Mom's the closest. How did I do? All right, so, Daisy, you want to ask this first one?
Yes, I do. This maybe whole time, definitely in the house, maybe this whole time behind you somewhere is somebody that we like to call the meatball. Meatball the brown and round dog.
I was just looking for
Where
him.
is the
That's
meatball, Mom?
wrong.
Where
I
is
think-
the meatball?
I think he's watching football with Jim.
Okay, we'll have to bring him back
I
around.
was gonna say, are you allowed to
I-
steal a meatball?
Hey, Bo.
If you want to steal a meatball, you can. Bo, where's Bo?
Come on, Bo. Let's see if he comes up. I'll try. Okay, go ahead.
If not, tell us how you acquired Bo. How long
Oh,
has Bo been in your life?
7 years. And when we moved to Florida full time, and my husband had retired after working 52 years and sold his company. And I think he was regressing a little bit. He asked for the Christmas before, he asked for a BB gun and a bike, which I got him. And then the next Christmas, he said what he really wanted was a puppy. That's what this Christmas, I really
He
wanted
was
a puppy.
regressing a little. Oh my god.
Yeah, so there's this amazing breeder in Ohio called Foxglove Farm.
Like
And you
Mansfield or something, right?
it's very dangerous to do this because these puppies are so cute. So we found Bo, whose birth name was Tin Soldier because he was a Christmas puppy.
Oh, of course.
And then we we adopted him, and he flew down to Florida. He arrived at RSW, Fort Myers Airport, in his little kennel with his lavender blanket, so he'd stay totally calm. And he was so cute. And Jim picked him up because he was shaking a little bit, and Jim hasn't put him down since.
That is true.
Aw,
And then
best Christmas gift.
when Jim's health started declining, we went through the process to get Bo certified as a service animal, which rarely happens with an adult dog. Usually, service animals are trained for that from puppies, but that just shows you how smart and intuitive Bo is because he passed with flying colors.
Bo did it.
That's
Aw.
Bo's
Well,
story.
I think Chad is dying to meet him, but we might do that by the end of the interview.
Circle back. Circle back.
Circle back to it.
All right, one more question, and I'll run and get him.
No, we got
I'll
a couple
run
more.
and
Go
get him.
for it,
Okay.
Daisy.
All right,
I got another question. What's a holiday tradition that if you skipped it, it wouldn't feel like holidays?
Oh my gracious. Oh my gracious. There's so many. Okay. So I don't have Christmas stockings for my kids anymore, but I have Christmas boxes.
Mhm.
So they're beautiful boxes, and it's the same box every year, right? Everybody has their own.
Okay. This is such a good idea. This
But
is
different-
genius.
But different
Oh my-
stuff. So one year it might be something really
Genius.
valuable in the Christmas box, and the next year it might be a shirt, right? One never knows. But
I liked the Kroger gift card year. That was awesome.
did you like that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a really important tradition for me. The other thing is when the kids were growing up, the household was primarily Italian. That's what Dom's dad is.
Mhm.
But I'm German, so now I lean into my German traditions a little more. So we have pickles hanging on. I have
Oh my
five
gosh.
I have
Pickle
five
tree.
trees up, and we have pickles. And the German
You have
tradition
5
is
Christmas trees.
I do. I have 5
Yes.
Christmas. You
Wait a
hide.
second. What?
I have 5 Christmas. I love Christmas.
She's got
You-
the
With
regular
the
Christmas
ornaments.
tree with the ornaments.
Wait.
She's got the ice
Wait.
the ice blue and rust Christmas tree. You've got the
And the blingy.
espresso Christmas tree. You've got the white pencil Christmas tree. And what's the last one?
the Florida tree.
The Florida tree. That's right.
I was gonna say
They're not all full size, chat. They're not
Explain
So
all
them.
full
a palm
size.
tree?
it's a
What?
palm tree. The Florida tree is it a palm tree?
Yeah. Guys, I've talked to Jim for a second. Can you give me 1
Okay.
second?
Yeah,
Give
we
me
got
absolutely.
you.
And I'll grab Bo.
Sure.
Is it-
Yeah. Yes. this is
Can
wonderful.
you,
Oh my
Daisy,
God.
can you mute her on Discord?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
Boop.
And then
Okay,
I think
should be
I
good now.
will-
Oh my gosh, this is
I'm really
amazing.
just standing meatball. I am excited
Well,
about
Oh,
his name
meatballs.
is Bo. His name is Bo, but my big
Bo
brother
the
Tony.
meatball is good.
One day, Tony was just like, Bo's getting around, and then he just decided like Bo is a meatball.
I mean,
Bo's-
isn't that
Bo's
the way?
getting
Like,
around.
any animal that's called by its real name on a regular basis is probably underloved.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
Folklore Megan,
my
what are you learning from tonight's interview?
My gosh,
This
I
is,
am
this
just
is
learning
amazing.
so much. I think I've been convinced that this overlap is there, but the more that I think about it, it's just so obvious
Mm-hmm.
that, of course, if our folklore teaches us things and it reminds us of how we are in our community and we're also trying to look to our organizations and our structures of government and all those kinds of things. Like, those spaces do very similar work, and nonprofits have become very formalized. And when we put that learning of our formal organizations and what it takes to build a community, I think it really reveals how people have intuitively done this for a very long time. And it's only a recent invention that we want to call it an organization. We want to call it something very formal. But people with skills like your moms and fundraisers, like, they really tap into a very core knowledge. Like, I don't want to go to Akashic record kind of like shared understanding of the world, right? But like, there's something really important about how we relate to each other through stories and all the things that folklorists study. And to me, the expressions of those things through giving is so important and worthy of study. Like, that's just what I'm being convinced of tonight.
Well, thank you, Megan. And speaking of reveals, I think we have the big reveal of the night ready. Daisy unmuted my mom. Okay,
Yes.
Megan, I'm gonna take your face down from the
I
stream,
believe
and I
so.
think there's going to be a big reveal. Chat, are you ready? Okay, so who's this little guy? Who's this little guy? Who's this little meatball?
Say hi. Say hi, everybody.
Hi,
Where's
Bo.
Dominic?
Bo.
Oh, where's Dominic?
Bo,
Where's
Amita.
Dominic?
What are you
Hi,
doing to
Bo.
me?
Where's
Hey,
Dominic?
Bo. Hey, little
He's so
meatball. What's up, my
cute.
little meatball? How
See,
you
and what
doing?
you didn't know,
Round.
Megan, about this meatball situation is that we're
Mhm.
talking about meatball. We know this is dog, and we talked about Bo becoming a
His
little
government
round.
name is Bo.
You didn't know that he's the perfect color of a meatball.
He is.
He's a little
Yes.
meatball colored.
I would
He's
like if he
meatball
had a little
round.
more char
He's
on
good.
him.
He's
Yeah.
good.
It,
Yeah.
So
I want to hear
cute.
more about Gravy Sunday, and I think this dog
Yeah,
just
Oh,
got
Sunday. We
started.
can talk Sunday gravy when we get back.
Sunday.
We can talk Sunday gravy when we
Oh
get
my
back.
gosh.
Oh my god. Well, hey,
Very good.
Mom, we got some more fun questions for you now that you've got Bo with you.
Okay.
Yes.
Mom, who was your favorite Folkwise interview? Because I know you go to sleep after the interviews.
You do this to me all the time, Dom. He's always asking me this question. I love so many of the people that you've had on. I really do. I'm inspired. Now it's going to be me, of course, but
Oh,
yeah.
that's where I get that from too, chat.
I'm thinking.
Oh my god.
The BTP method. The first
Yeah,
thing is
yes.
bold. She likes
Bold.
herself.
Bold.
I'll give that.
Yes.
She's Leslie Knope. She can be inspired
Yes.
by herself.
That's
Dom
true.
comes by it, honestly.
All right, we have an answer. Daisy,
love
you got
that.
the next one?
When I get down.
I
Bye,
sure
Bo.
do.
Bye, Mr.
All
Meaty.
right. What's the funniest? Bye, Bo. Bye, Mr. Meaty Bo. What is the funniest time that Dom and his brothers got into trouble that you still laugh about in hindsight?
Oh,
We talked about some of them today. Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Did you catch the question?
Bo disconnected me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like
So we were talking about
Um,
playing video games and all the craziness that you used to get into. You know,
Yeah.
they had like this spoken community language between them where they would torture each other relentlessly. They were just awful. But when the parents came home, then they stuck up for each other and very little information was shared, right? Very little details were ever passed on. But gosh, besides video games, Dami, what comes to mind?
I had another video game story.
All right, go.
I was trying to play Mario 64, and
Yeah.
you had the egg timer set up so Dean and I would trade the controller.
Yeah.
And
So.
I didn't know.
the egg timer went off, and
Uh-oh.
Dean was still playing,
Mhm.
and I take the controller from him, and you walked downstairs and we didn't realize it. And as you turn the corner to see us, because I think you heard us fighting over the controller, Dean tries to win the controller back from me from taking like one of those Fisher-Price lawnmowers and smacking me over the back of the head with it.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Still laughing about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those. I think one of those. I think if you mentioned the head through the head through the door, that's a good one.
I just remember all of the extraordinary activities. There was always so much stuff going on at one time. There was always so much craziness. I think one of the things, it was sad, but it's one of the things that I will never, Dom, I cherish this memory more than just about anything else. We were leaving for a vacation. All 5 of them are home. We're going to Florida. We're leaving the next morning. I'm trying to get the house organized, the kids packed, everybody ready to go. And, our dog, at the time, we had this 100-pound dog. She was really
Caitlin.
ill, and they took Katie. Dom and his dad took Katie to the vet, and we were gonna board her for a week until we got back, and then probably have her put down because she was.
Oh my God! I can't believe you're telling
really
this
old.
one. I can't believe you're telling this one.
And
Keep
so-
keep going.
Tom
No,
is embarrassed on stream.
So then they
This
come
is
back.
just the
and
most
they're-
Italian story.
This is the
she
most
could tell.
Italian story. This is the most Dominically, essentially perfect Italian story. So no, then they come back and they say, we had to put her down. We're going to have to put her down.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, well, have them cremate her and then bring the ashes back. And then we had another dog buried in the backyard. So we'll bury her ashes and then take the collar and hang it up on the fence post with the other puppy's collar. We'll do all that stuff. And so, okay, that was the decision. And then they come back an hour later and they have Katie. They have this 100-pound dog in a plastic bag because Dom insisted that we were going to bury her.
Oh my
That's what
God.
we're going to do.
Uh-huh.
So,
God.
Yeah.
so they're in the backyard, and Northwest Ohio, there's a lot of clay. So in the
Oh,
back,
That's not good. Not
you
good
might get
soil
through
there.
a foot of dirt, and then you're in the clay. So his 3 older brothers, they're all in college. All these guys are out there, and they're digging this hole. The neighbors are watching, pulling the curtains back, like, what are they doing?
Because you've got the Tartaglias like being like 6 feet deep. It's got to be 6 feet deep for the body, and everyone's like, "What the hell?"
Grandpa Tartaglia was an undertaker, so there's a whole story there. So anyway, and then they carry her across the yard and they put her in, and oops, it's not wide enough. So then they take her back,
Oh my God.
and then they bring her back again. So this is going on, and I'm like really
We
angry.
need to be packing. We're going to Tampa.
I'm
Yeah.
angry at my ex because I'm like, what are you thinking? So finally, everything's good. The kids are all sweaty. The grave is dug. The neighbors are calling the cops. Everything is going on.
Oh my God.
We're going to bring her over and put her in her
Chat,
final
Megan is
resting
crying.
place. And then Dominic says, we're going to put her in her final resting place. And Dom goes, no, you can't. Wait a minute. He runs up to his room, comes down with this CD player, and he's got to play this
Oh
Italian.
my God. Dom is so extra.
So we could properly say goodbye.
Oh,
It was time to say
so
goodbye by
He's
Andrea
probably listening
Bocelli.
both
It was
times
time to say
already.
goodbye by Andrea Bocelli.
See you at the cross.
That is the most Italian thing ever. I'm gonna post that song in chat.
Con te partirò.
I'm
That's
putting
what
a
it
song
is.
in chat. Oh my God.
Sorry, Dom.
Daisy, should I ask
Oh
this
my
last question?
Slightly
Do you want to
traumatic,
go?
but really wonderful.
Do you,
Oh, is that a wonderful story?
should I ask this last question? Do you want to go right in the
Yeah.
tier list with it? What do you think?
I think we should go right in the tier list.
Let's go
I think
right
this
in the tier
I
list,
think
Mom.
it'll come out. Yeah.
It'll come out. Daisy, why don't you set up this next part?
Okay. So you've watched the show before, Barbara, and you know that at the end of the interview, we always like to play a little game with our guests. Sometimes it's this or that. Sometimes it's something else we made up, but usually it's a tier list. So we have designed a tier list for you. if you click watch stream again, kind of like we did before for the video game, something should appear to you. It's very small. Dom will be able to read everything to you.
Okay.
For you, we have designed a Beatles album tier list.
Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Okay.
We were gonna see if you could talk a little bit about
Hanging
like,
out
so-
backstage with Paul McCartney's band.
Well, I was
No.
gonna say you were
No.
13. You were 13 when you saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, right?
No, I was 11.
You were 11. Okay.
11,
But
okay.
you were the perfect age for Beatlemania. You were the target audience of Beatlemania.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is true. And I still am. I mean, the
Yes.
Beatles music has been the soundtrack of my life.
That is true.
And Dom and
Yes.
I have an agreement. He has made a commitment to his mother
That's right.
that when the day comes, when Sir Paul passes on, Dominic is to stop everything he's doing and get in touch with me, because he and only he is going to understand how to console his mother, who is grief stricken and out of her mind.
I'm a bit of a pop music head, you know? I
Yeah,
think I get that
that's
from
true.
mom.
Oh, and the other thing we're going to do is someday Dom and I are going to Liverpool.
That's right.
And we're going to do all of the Beatles stuff. We're going to do the whole tour thing. And while we're on
We
like
should
the
so do
record
this.
cost, Daisy, while we're going to like, Abbey Road, Dom is going to be sitting next to me singing the appropriate album songs as I experience this for the first time. I'm so
And
excited.
I would expect nothing less
Thank you.
from an experience like that. Truly,
Thank
it makes
you.
sense for both of you. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
So,
it's
Mom,
very
you've
good.
seen enough of the
All
show
right.
to know how tier list works, right? S being the highest, D being the lowest.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna read off
S
the
is
Beatles album.
superior.
Yeah. S
Am I
is
supposed
the-
to push watch stream yet?
Yes, you're
Yes.
supposed to watch stream.
Okay,
Yes.
go. All right.
And
Okay, you looking
and
at it?
Dom will read off the albums to you because it's a little bit hard to see on our end.
All right.
Okay, first off, well, we're going in chronological order, and the first one is Meet the Beatles.
Yes.
Where does that where does this rank on a scale from
S to D.
S to D?
What am I ranking it for? As far as
How much you
How
like them? How
your-
much you like them?
how much
much
I
you like
like
them.
it. Meet the Beatles. Okay, well, that was way up. S is the best, right?
S is
Yes.
above 100%.
Yeah,
Over
that-
100.
Yeah, it's got to be over 100 because it's my first Beatle total.
Meet the Beatles comes in strong,
Right up
immediate
there.
S. Okay,
Yeah.
next one.
Amazing.
All right, saw her standing there. Next one is With the Beatles, album 2.
Okay, that's okay, but I'll make it a, what's the next one down?
A.
A.
A, thank you.
See,
It's hard to
that's
see.
it kind of
Yeah.
invented the
Oh, I got it.
the challenging second album, the sophomore slump.
Although that one's got oh no, keep going.
Next
Never
one
mind.
is Hard Day's Night.
Okay, I'd put that in A because that had, oh yeah, all
Is that-
kinds of cool.
Is that A above? Is that
Day's
above?
Night.
Is that above With the Beatles?
Yeah, like that.
Okay, above With the Beatles. Next one.
It's been
Next
a
one.
hard day's night, but
Next one. So that's what that feels like. Is Beatles for Sale?
yeah, you can put it a B.
Beatles for Sale is B.
Yeah.
Next one is Help.
I would put help. I need somebody's help. Give me a moment. I'm thinking about it.
I mean, Help's got Yesterday
right.
on it. You love Yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd put that at that's an A.
Is that above Hard Day's
That's-
Night or between Hard Day's Night and With the Beatles?
Between. Thank you. Between.
Between.
Yeah.
Between.
Definitely.
Nice. Nice.
Then we've got Rubber Soul.
That is an S.
She does this every time anyone says the words rubber or soul.
Just love it.
This is your top,
Norwegian
right?
Wood?
This is by
Come
far your top.
on,
Come
And
on.
your
that
photo
song?
album or
Oh,
your genealogy was called In My Life, which is a reference to this album.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um.
I'm truly surprised
And-
they're not all
and-
being put in S.
No,
Time
I,
out.
there's
And-
one. There is Megan. There's one that I think
Dom.
is going to be a D.
Wait, Dom,
Ooh.
continue. Wait, Dom, continue on with what you were just talking about, In My Life. And it's also the song that
Me
you
and Dean and cousin Billy sang
Brother.
at your wedding instead of Ave
a
Maria.
cappella on the beach in Marco Island. Dolphins jumping.
Amazing.
I know. Go ahead. I digress.
Amazing.
Hey, next up is
Oh, there it goes.
Revolver.
Yeah, okay, that's probably a B.
Is
You know,
that below Beatles for Sale?
you can stick it right there. That's okay.
Okay. Next, Sergeant Pepper.
Oh, all right. That's up. That, yeah. Okay. That's got to be an S.
Is that S below Rubber Soul?
Yeah, right there.
This makes sense so far. This makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up,
The chat is wondering if there may be
I think there's
tier
one
list
album that's
compression
going to be a
coming
D.
for this one.
There's one
but we'll
album
see.
that's going to be a D. I
Okay.
swear, chat. If I know my mom, there's one album she's going to say, not my thing.
It's like
Okay. Next up is Magical Mystery Tour.
I think that's a B.
That's a B. Okay. And the American Magical Mystery Tour's got
Magical
Lady
Mystery
Madonna
Tour.
and Strawberry Fields. There's more songs
Yeah,
on the
that's
American
good, that's
version.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I think that's an A. I changed my mind.
Oh, that's an A. Where's it going? Where in
yeah,
A?
second. Yeah,
Second place in
one,
A?
Second
Second
one.
place in A?
This
Yeah,
is awesome.
All
yeah.
right.
Changed my mind.
Next up is the White Album.
Now I'm going to surprise you, but I'm going to make the White Album an A.
No, you're not, Mom. You hate the White
Yes,
Album.
No,
What?
I don't.
Yes, you
What?
do.
Explain.
Mom, my whole
This
life
is
you've been like, it's just,
controversial.
that album sounds like heroin. That album sounds like heroin. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I just said that to
It's the
harass
quality I
you.
mostly ascribe to heroin is its sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Where is the White Album going in A?
You could put it in a B. I was just harassing you.
Oh, okay. It's B?
Oh, okay.
Where is it in B? Where is it in
Top of
B?
No.
At the end of the line.
The
It's
end of the
Then
line
what
down
is keeping
there.
it from being
Bigger.
C, Mom? Mom,
It's a stinker.
you're putting Yellow Submarine and Revolution number 9 on the same tier. I want
The
you to
same
know
thing. John, have you ever noticed how our names rhyme? Go
that. I
ahead.
have, yeah. Oh wow, it's taking you that long to do this. Next up is Let It Be.
Oh, that's an A.
And where is it in A?
Which
What two
spot?
albums would you put it between in A?
I would put it the third. Make it the third spot.
Right in the middle? Between
Thank you,
Help and
sir.
Magical Mystery Tour.
Perfect.
And then last up is Abbey Road.
Last. Oh, Abbey Road. Also an A at the very end.
The very top of A? The very top? Oh, over
No,
No, then the other end.
bottom
I
of
love
A. Okay.
Beatles. Can you tell I love the Beatles?
this is good.
Well, hey, James Elton Bell. Mom, hey, James Bell says hi. But you said they're all packed at the top.
Oh, hi,
But
James.
look at that curve. Look at that distribution.
That's
We
good.
still found a way to do it. We still found a way to do it.
That's good.
I
That's
love
good.
it. That was fun.
That was great.
Awesome.
Mom,
You guys, you're the best. Yes.
what? We're the best.
Thank you.
Mom,
Thank you
please.
for this.
No, you rock. This is so much fun. My face hurts from smiling so much.
It's real good. It's real. We do take those, chat. We take those. Mom, where can people find you? I guess you're LinkedIn.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. And I'm right here.
And you're right
Wait,
here in Toledo.
wait,
Mom,
before-
can Daisy for real come over next week?
Yeah, absolutely. You already said she was. We're
Yeah.
expecting her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna
And Daisy,
figure out
what
how
are
to
you
do
gonna say
it. I'm gonna do it.
before too long?
Before
You-
we formally end, I think it would be lost on us if we didn't explain the link I've been dropping about
That's
the
true.
scholarship.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then especially because we're gonna go to break and you get to see the ad and you blah blah blah. So you, as part of all of our guests, get an offer of an advertisement during our break. And you gave us a link to a family scholarship fund. Would you care to elaborate on the history of this
Megan's
fund?
applauding,
Because it is
chat.
it's
I
not
think I
only a scholarship fund, but it's also family folklore.
It is. Should I push close stream first before I? No.
Keep it over
No.
for now.
No, I think you're good. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, you're good.
All right. So we're talking about your personal philanthropy, and there's the one that is so precious to me, and that is the Klein Scholarship.
Mhm.
So in 2001, my parents were coming home from dinner. My mom was driving because my dad was no longer in great health. They were hit head on by a drunk driver. And we lost grandma that night. And then my dad was in a coma for 3 months. So it was a really difficult time for us all to go through. And then the 3 years that followed my mom's death, there was a criminal case. The young man who was driving in heavily intoxicated and killed my mom was 20 years old. So my same age as Dom's brothers at the time. And then there was a civil case because after he was found guilty, we sued the bar that had served him excessive amounts of alcohol. And so when all of that was done, right after my mom was killed, my dad and I created the scholarship in her memory because she was a really brilliant woman, a really successful woman, but someone who never got to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So we did this for a student, a non-traditional student, someone in their 30s on up, preferably a woman, but it's open to anyone who wanted to come back and earn a degree, but primarily to earn a degree to open a business. So that's what it was about. And then when my dad passed away, about honestly 6 weeks after all of the lawsuits ended up wrapped up, my dad died. He fought for her, and when all that was finished, then he passed. And so we modified it to be in both of their names. So this is precious to me. And I've had the opportunity to meet many of the recipients over the past 20 years. And they are the most lovely people who really needed a hand up to start their college education. The scholarship is critically important. So that's why we featured the Klein Scholarship. My mom had this extraordinary ability to come into my home when all these boys lived there, when they'd be mad at me for being too mean or not understanding or having too many rules or whatever it was, right, Dom? And they weren't talking to me all through Sunday gravy. And then my mom had this, all 5'6" of her, had this extraordinary ability to plop herself down on the couch next to him, wrap her arms around these boys that towered above her, pull them into her and talk to them and kind of talk them off the ledge. She was also the toughest woman that I ever met. So a couple of times, they received the other side of that personality as well. But when I lost her, I remember thinking I will never be able to duplicate that ability and that essence she had, and that was such a huge loss for me. But over the years with my kids, I found that maybe I carry a little bit of that same energy. So I do my best. So
That's
yes, if
awesome.
anyone wants to support, we would love that. And
Yeah.
Link in chat, add in the break.
Dom's grandma. And Ralph, my dad, is my stepdad. He adopted my mom's 4 kids when they got married. I was 13 at the time. And he had 7 of his own kids. He didn't need to do that. And he certainly didn't need the financial responsibility of doing that. But he did that. And he became one of my best friends and one of my primary supporters. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Megan, are
miss
you
him.
3 for 3? Are you crying on Folkwise now?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
I'm just, like a little misty.
You're looking close.
Yeah,
You're getting close.
Misty. Yeah.
You're misty.
Yeah. Well,
I
folks,
just
there's
really
a
love heartwarming stories and
Aw.
hearing how people just remember beautiful things through giving to others. It's so special.
Aw.
That's true. That's true. And thank you for this honor. This has been so wonderful.
This honor.
And Megan, great to meet
You're
you.
welcome.
And Dami, I can't wait until you get home, and I'll see if I can move your ticket a day earlier.
We'll see.
I'll let you
We'll see.
know.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Love
We'll
you
see.
all.
Love you, Mom. Ladders
All
for my mom,
Merry
chat.
Christmas.
Yes.
Happy New Year.